Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never seen a hot take, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement. We like to give our thoughts, opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a game, and that game is Avowed. My name is Anthony Ragucci, and here to discuss with me, as always, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch. How you doing?
We're doing better.
Yeah, we're doing better. Right? You feel a little better?
Yeah, I had a bad Friday, bad end of the day. Going into the Thunderbolts, the hot take was a little rough, but I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better because I'm here talking with one of my best friends.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here, Gooch. And I'm happy to distract a tad. So Avowed, right? That's what we're here to discuss.
So I just said about 25, 30 seconds ago to Trey, we've never done a review like this. What I mean is we've never done a review where, like, you only played like 10 hours of a game or maybe less.
Probably less.
And then I beat it.
Yeah.
So I have finished Avowed. It took me around 3 days of gameplay, 72 hours, right?
Okay.
That's
Interesting.
3 days? Yeah. Took me like 3 days on the dot. Thank God I got it off my plate. KCD2 is still there with Oblivion, and gaming right now it's great to be a gamer, but
of course,
at the same time,
it's just so much.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
At least GTA isn't coming out this year, am I right, guys?
You start crying.
All right. Yeah, so I beat this game, I finished it, but Trio only played probably about 5, 6, 7 hours.
I think less than 5 hours.
So let's start with you.
Yeah.
How did you like your experience with your time with Avowed? Why did you stop playing? What were your issues? And then, we'll do our usual chat where the other person hasn't finished the game.
It's tough because it's been a bit since I've played it. So really thinking about it, I think most of all, it just did not grab me out the gate. I just didn't feel like invested in the world. I thought it was a beautiful looking game. I think the idea of like Pillars of Eternia sounds like a very interesting Eternity. Thank you. It sounds like a very interesting world. There seems to be some interesting lore, but I don't know. There was just something about the aesthetic that didn't particularly grab me. I think the menus and stuff also, not that that's very important. Gameplay's key. It was also just a little generic and didn't really hit hard for me. I know this was originally apparently made as a multiplayer game. Yeah. And I think, you see a lot of those shine through the cracks. A lot of those systems maybe shine through the cracks in interesting ways. But I think overall it just felt like it was trying to be something, and then when I recognized that it was trying to be that thing, it was like, no, we're not actually that thing.
What was it trying to be?
It feels very much like it's trying to be a Bethesda-like RPG.
Okay.
Even Skyrim. Even Skyrim.
It
absolutely does. And listen, they can say that this isn't Skyrim all they want, and they can say that they didn't want to emulate Skyrim or whatever. I don't believe that. With the way that the whole game is set up from this first-person view, this RPG element, this, decision-making stuff, it just feels like such a step down from a lot of the worlds they've created before. And I don't know. It just really did not grab me. It's like if you show up in a jester's outfit, Gooch, and you have no horn and you have no balls or whatever, and you have none of the paraphernalia, but you're dressed as a jester.
Emasculated.
And then you go, and I'm like, what are you doing, Gooch? Or why are you dressed like a jester? And you're like, I'm not a jester. I'm obviously not trying to be a jester. You see, I don't have, it's like, no, you're wearing all these trappings.
If it's a quacks like a duck and it looks like a duck, it's a duck.
It's a duck. And you can't tell me otherwise. And like, I don't know, you can't wear all these trappings of these RPGs, but then only go like a quarter of the way and then be like, well, why are you comparing us to this other RPG? I don't know. I think it's, regardless of if they're saying they don't want to be compared to this, I think it's very much a fair comparison. And,
I think you're emulating a lot of people's opinions.
Yeah.
I think most people who played this game kind of dropped it very quickly. And I kind of understand why. Can I say?
Please, yeah, jump in. Yeah.
This is another very okay game from Obsidian. Very similar to Outer Worlds, where I remember reviewing that game and we both were like, this is just okay. It's like a good okay. And I feel like Avowed is a good okay, but has moments of it's a bad okay. I wanted to make a note. Achievements are always great.
I love it.
58.78% of people got past the first tutorial area, the 4 North Reach.
Okay.
That's always interesting.
That is actually surprising.
A lot of people who booted up, half the people didn't even get past the first hour.
Right. That's noticeable. Yeah. And again, I think it just kind of comes from this, like, this not fully investing in these systems. Like is there a stealth system?
Yes.
There's a stealth system. It's
complex?
very no. Is there a lock picking system? No.
Yeah, there is, but it's like just hold the button. You have to have lock picks. Hold X open.
Right.
Is the stealth system? You go crouch. You're sneaking. You can go through the brushes, go up, and do your little melee attack. And there's an invisibility spell, but like, is that any different from Skyrim or Oblivion? No, not really. Is it different from other stealth games like maybe Metal Gear or Assassin's Creed? Sure. But
did you find that it worked as well as like an Elder Scrolls or something? Because for me, I felt like
it worked just as like
because I was
get by.
For me, it didn't work at all. Like I guess that was where I was running into issues. Like I felt like I wasn't able to sneak anywhere. I was always getting caught. And it's
definitely not that kind of game.
The combat is pretty good, actually. I think that's probably the best part of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And, the magic's very interesting. I like a lot of those mechanics, but it just feels not fully realized to me, genuinely.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I started off the game really high. I really liked it. I wanted people to like it. And as there's four main areas and there's one like end game area, but I wouldn't count it as an area. It's not like it's like you're in the end. There's not quests there. You're just going through it.
Right.
But it kind of has like a few fast travel points, a few camps. But I wouldn't categorize it as like the same.
Yeah.
So I exit Dawn Shore and go to Emerald Stair, and I think in Emerald Stair and parts of Shatterscarp, the third area, I wasn't too hot. I find the hardest difficulty a bit too annoying.
Like grindy.
Not grindy, but these enemies have way too much health, and
Spongy,
I'm doing
almost.
Yeah. Again, the same issue Oblivion and Skyrim have, where enemies are the balance is not great. Yeah. I'm finding here, but once I got into an end game and I kind of found my rhythm, I was dual wielding a mace and a sword, and then a pistol and a wand. So dual wield. I was kind of a ranger. I was summoning creatures and pets and rooting people. I didn't know where I was going to go with this. The character customization is pretty interesting. I don't think it's anything too robust. They do have the unique thing of like you're a godlike and you have these like fungal appendages, which kind of are weird.
Very stupid
like,
looking. I don't know.
Stupid. It's like cool, but like not.
Yeah, I don't know why. The whole aesthetic of this game just did not ring for me for some reason, especially that like kind of fungal fantasy type style.
I kind of like this like eccentric, vibrant sort of land, like it's like fantasy, tropical fantasy. That's what the Living Lands is, and I mean it's a big island.
That's pretty cool.
And like the end game world zone, Galloway's Tusk is your volcano ash kind of place. Shattered Scarp is your desert kind of place. Emerald Stair is like your foresty kind of fungal area, and like Dawn Shore is like your more stereotypical like I don't know
like fantasy setting,
like fantasy forest, but like
castles
normal.
And like
yeah. I like the areas, and I think the world is very beautiful. Like I think that's really great. But it's in the end game where I kind of finalized like what I was doing and how I was playing, and I was like, I really like this game's combat. It is good. There's a lot to experiment with, and it's very easy to get in and out. Very easy to respec everything.
Yeah.
You have 4 companions, which I hated Marius through most of the game, but the other ones are pretty tolerable. But I kind of liked having a...
It's what you're looking for, tolerable. Sorry.
Yeah. I kind of liked how Avowed's companions were like a small group.
Yeah.
Compared to like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, where you're like...
You have a camp.
6.
Full.
Yeah, a lot of people. Like, Avowed chose to do just 4.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that. I kind of felt like my party was small. Like, even smaller than, like... I mean, Baldur's Gate is pretty big.
I will say one other thing, too, with just the open world in general, that the vibe I got from just the small 5 hours that I played, it just felt the first area specifically felt super stagnant in the way of, like, you walk into a market that's supposed to be bustling, and everyone's just, like, glued in place. No one's really walking around. Everyone's just, like, I don't know, it just feels very... old style to me. It just it's an interesting choice, and I think that that comes from
that's the leftover in the multiplayer
and I think your whole party was originally supposed to be players that you get to choose to play as well, and that they refocused them into just party members. So they did a lot of retooling with this game. And by the way, when they announced this game, and I think we talked about this before, did not feel like they were announcing a multiplayer game at all.
No,
it felt like they were just announcing their fantasy style RPG that they're tackling next.
So I was watching a video essay, and I sent it to you on Discord. It was like, why aren't there more Elder Scrolls clones? And they were talking about Avowed, because I think Avowed was kind of ended up by players becoming this Skyrim clone, and it was never marketed as that. I think we just kind of decided it was. But Obsidian never corrected anybody. And they kind of let that fester. And I think that's the problem. The players' expectations were out of whack, and Obsidian never course corrected us, never slapped us on the wrist and goes, "Hey, this isn't Skyrim. It does it have some adjacent kind of similarities? Sure." But like it's not supposed to be like that. We have 4 open world zones, but like it's not open world. They're very linear.
I also hate the open world zones.
They're not sprawling dungeons. There's only like 2 or 3 dungeons in each area, but like, and you're not exploring. You're kind of just moving through the world, going through like quests that bring you places. Like, if you're just going through the world and just kind of looking around, I would say you're kind of almost playing wrong. The world, it's designed to do that, but there's not a lot of things out there to do. There's a few collectibles, there's a few side quests scattered around, but like, you're not going to get lost like you would in Oblivion or Skyrim.
No, and I'm sorry. It feels like Skyrim. Like, I
think once you establish that expectation and understand what the game is, I think it's easier to have a better time with it.
Right, but I even with that in mind, it just feels like you wanted to make Skyrim, but you just couldn't. So this is the best we got. Like, we decided to take out these systems because that's too complicated. We can't have this because that would take up too much more time. Ooh, do we want a full open world? No, it's easier to make contained 4 worlds. I don't know. And I think your point is great about them not correcting. And also, like, why would we not infer that based on that opening trailer and what they've made and what they do?
Right, because we saw the sword with the magic.
Right.
So that was the first
thing. Like, what else would
it
be? Why? Like, I don't know. Outer Worlds, no, it's not a Fallout clone, but it kind of is. Like, it very much is in that way of like.
I think they marketed it as it's New Vegas in terms of tone and things like that,
and how it works and how it plays. Absolutely, and I think they implied that very much with that first trailer. I don't know why you would get any other reading from that other than, oh, they're making this cool single player RPG in the style of the RPGs they've made before. I don't know. I think that's a very reasonable realization. And then when you give me this hollowed out version of this genre that I like, I'm going to say something. And I'm not going to like it very much. I'm sorry. Just the way it is.
I had a point.
I'm sorry.
No. I was something I thought of while you were talking.
It really, I will say, one of the hardest parts about podcasting, and it is really hard. It's such a hard job. Oh my God. No, is holding on to your thought without interrupting someone and just trying to keep it in the conversation, because I do that too all the time. I'm like, what was I about to say?
I was talking about the story. Oh, Pillars of Eternity. So Avowed takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe. You talked about that before. Not a Pillars of Eternity guy. Would like to play the series, but I don't know about it. And it is like kind of a sequel to Deadfire. And they talk about the Deadfire event a lot. And they do talk about kind of events within the Pillars of Eternity universe a lot. But sometimes I feel like the dictionary thing that they have, that they kind of brought over from Pentiment in a way, didn't end up being as helpful. Because I think almost having less context for these events and understanding them contextually in the world would have, especially fantasy events, would have been better for me to digest them than to just open a book, read what the event is, and then get back to things. It's kind of cool, but I think it like almost isn't effective as it was in Pentiment, where we know this is based in real life. So they're bringing up events that most people don't know a lot about, and you can kind of get a brief synopsis and then you move on. But funny. For fictitious fantasy, it doesn't work the same. Well, because I think maybe it's because I have less context for the world it's in.
Like, you're just able to kind of understand what is being told to you in the moment. Like, yeah, you don't need any more context.
Like, I don't understand that. I understand how the gods work somewhat in this world. But like at the beginning I was like, I'm still like, what did Athos like? Did he like come alive and like became like a giant thing, and like this giant thing like killed this land, and there was this war in the Deadfire Archipelago, and I'm like, okay.
And it's like,
but like I don't have context for it.
And it's also, how badly do you need to know that for the game, or is that just kind of broader world
I don't
lore?
think you need to know it much for the game, but it's brought up a lot. Like,
I see.
A lot of people.
Well, then you kind of do.
it.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense then. Because it's even funny. I'm playing Elder Scrolls again right now, 4.
I mean,
and obviously
we both are.
And
a lot more. You understand a lot more.
You definitely
about the world.
do, and I'm trying to pay more attention to things that I definitely didn't pay attention to as much back then.
I mean,
lore wise, and like
there's one line about the Nerevarine.
Yeah.
The character from Morrowind, and he goes to Akavir, and I'm like, I probably heard that and had no idea. What
Yeah. There's
about.
a bunch of like little lore drops where it's like, oh, now that I have more, not even more context, now that I'm older and can grasp
and I
it a
don't
little
think
bit more.
you need to play the Pillars of Eternity games to play Avowed. Like, definitely not. But like, you are kind of hopping in the middle of this universe.
Right.
It's not like the game is at the beginning of a universe and it has to properly tell you all this. I think Avowed gets away with like, maybe you played Avowed or maybe you played PoE, so we can not explain this to you maybe as well as we need to for new people.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because I'm trying to think. I don't remember Pentiment having that. I know it did. Obviously, I just didn't realize. Or I didn't use it that much, but I do remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like when they talk about, like, I don't know, fucking Martin Luther. Like, and,
yeah.
You know, it's like,
I knew that they had like
Luther
a lore,
is.
I thought there was like a menu you could go in and look at the lore, but I didn't realize it was like in the moment.
Yeah.
I know, didn't Final Fantasy 15 do that too?
Yes,
they had like some type of lore thing?
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
16.
Right.
But
yeah,
yes.
16.
But yes.
So yeah, I think that can be a good idea, but it's sad to hear
See,
that
and in
it kind
Final
of...
Fantasy 16, I felt like it was executed much better.
Right.
But also, keep in mind, Final Fantasy 16 is the first game in that universe. So it's different. You know, where again, we're not hopping in the middle of it. This is the first time anyone has seen any of this shit.
Right. So this is totally new. Yeah, to everyone.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you think about the story
Perfect.
itself?
I was just going to go right there. Wow. So, you know, you're on attack.
Lay it out. I was going to say, yeah, what's the beginning?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
You are an envoy from a nation called Adir. And, you know, you're an envoy sent to the Living Land to essentially find out what's going on with this plague called the Dream Scourge and where it comes from.
Right.
And you get there and you're doing some things and something's in your head, like something's fucking with you. And you don't really know what that is, and you're progressing the story. You get to an old ruin in the second area. You find out that it's you're a godlike, but you don't know your god.
Right.
It's your god, Sappadal, and Sappadal is the god of the Living Lands. Oh. So you are the godlike of the Living Lands.
And godlike is a it's kind of like a half. What's the word? Not a half god.
Demigod.
Yeah, demigod.
No, maybe. Yes.
Like they are. Like
they kind of can be. Like you're not like all powerful.
Sure.
As a god, like you can be,
but like your god impregnated someone else. Is that the idea, or is it more you just are blessed?
Just goes,
right, yeah. Like you're being born and like you're blessed.
I'm blessing you. You're special. Yeah, you look different now because you know, there was this moment at your birth where the stars aligned and you became the godlike of X god, and all godlikes had gods, but there's godlikes, but there's less godlikes now. Like there's not many of them.
God, I'd be so pissed
when
if my
people
god...
see you, they react to you.
Right, and you can. I thought it was interesting that you could hide the godlike feature.
I think it's just for aesthetical purposes.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, no, they still referenced. I still remember them referencing it even in the beginning.
Yeah, and they tell you like, hey, you can hide this in game, but like people will still react to it.
I think I just had like the pink one or whatever.
Yeah, I had the pink one on the head because honestly, I'm excited to eventually play it again because I think I would kind of do things a little differently. In terms of role play and like, you know, weapons and trying different things and looking differently, dipping a bit more into like, yeah, let's go crazy with this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So the idea is now you're getting to the inner Living Lands to connect with Sappadal, and Sappadal is kind of like Homelander. Very powerful, but very immature.
Just the worst. Yeah.
It's kind of like a big baby.
I see.
Like Sappadal, like you find out is the cause of the Dream Scourge. She's caught, and it's basically, you know, there used to be a race of people called the Akita or the Godless on Living Lands, and they were killed by Sappadal, by the Dream Scourge. Because Sappadal acted out, essentially, like got upset at something.
Because they weren't, was it like because they weren't worshiping him, or like,
no, it's not because they weren't worshiping her. It's really because like she just like acted out, got upset, and her getting upset unleashes the Dream Scourge, and it killed them. Like it's truly that. So you're like, it's kind of interesting because it's not like you're like, I never felt like I was on Sappadal's side, and I was like, yeah, this is like a god, and like basically, you know, are you going to kill this god or are you going to free this god? Because she's trapped, and she's like, you have to free me, and like you're kind of like, you know, making your decision as you get closer and closer to her. There's some other forces against you, like the Steel Garrote, who are led by Ludwin, who is a godlike of Wodica, who is another god, and she's like very zealot, kind of like a paladin, but like a bad paladin, essentially. Like, will kill people, but like oathbound.
I see.
And yeah, and she's kind of racing you to Sappadal. She's on your tail. You can choose to side with her or not. There's a lot of paths you can go down. Every area has like a big decision marker. You get assassinated in the beginning of the game, and the end quest for Dawnshore is do you kill your assassins or you let him go? There's consequences. Emerald Stair, similar thing. Shatterscarp, similar thing. Bigger one there, where it's like, do you destroy this ruin that people can study and like not kill people, or do you save the ruin and like sacrifice people because you didn't blow this thing up in this ruin? So yeah, you have choices and stuff like that. And the same with like the last zone, there's something like that. But it does end with this big encounter where do you free Sappadal or do you destroy her? I chose to destroy her. And then you fight Ludwin at the end, who's like, I don't know if it's what it's like if you do side with her, but like she starts attacking like the only big town there, Adir, and it's like, okay, like she's kind of off the rocker.
I see.
Like Adir,
like a zealot, like you're saying,
sends the Steel Garrote, but they're clearly there on their own sort of mission, and they're again like they're just taking everyone out left and right and stuff. Yeah, the story grew on me. I had moments where I was like, I don't really care.
Who gives a fuck, yeah.
But then I was like, oh, I kind of like this. And Ludwin's a pretty interesting villain. She died befefore this, so she was like resurrected, and like she's just like a skeleton. And she looks really cool. I think there are moments of high quality in this game, whether it's gameplay, story. There's not like a ton of interesting side quests. A lot of them are just kind of like go here, like nothing of note, like honestly, like not one.
That's sad.
The achievement list is pretty interesting. There's a lot of missable stuff, but I found their achievement list interesting because their achievements are named after some of their other games or things in their other games. Like there's an achievement called Pentiment, and it's to beat all the side missions. There's an achievement called like Big Iron on your hip, and it's to, I think, get your upgrade your weapon all the way. Like and there's a one called Grounded, and you have to kill like 5 spiders, and like it's cute. Like I was actually like, wow, that's interesting, because I don't think I've ever seen other games kind of like reference their own IP within their achievements, but it's definitely going to require another go through, and I'm excited to kind of get some space away from it and eventually come back.
And I will say it's not without possibility that I'll ever pick this app back up again. Maybe I'm in a different mood and it hits in a different way.
I definitely think there will be DLC.
Who knows? Maybe
the map is like, there's like a mountainous frost snow area you don't go to. I think we'll see an Outer Worlds like DLC or 2 for this for sure.
And again, I would love to see a universe where this was actually made as a single player game from the beginning, because apparently like production began on this version of the game only like 3 years ago or something like that, as far as I understood it. So I would love to see them actually give a fantasy RPG a fair shot, like they seem to be doing with Outer Worlds. I was not as high on what I was seeing out of Outer Worlds when they first started showing things for Outer Worlds 2. I was just like, it looks more like Outer Worlds. But this recent stuff they've done with IGN, the IGN first stuff, they've been showing off a lot of how they've upgraded their stealth system and a lot of different elements of the game, and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. And you know, they have a great base from the Outer Worlds, because I would even go so far as to say the Outer Worlds a bit better than fine. I think it's good to pretty great.
Yeah,
Is it anything to ride?
You think you've come up on it?
Maybe. I think I was always kind of like, it's good. Fine equals good for me. I guess I should clarify.
Yeah, like I was saying,
like I think it's like it's well written enough. I think the mechanics are there. I think it's a fantastic base to bounce off from, almost like KCD 1 in a way. Whereas I hope Outer Worlds 2 is going to be everything that game wanted to be. And I have hope for Oblivion. I think that they can really make some amazing stuff. And I think, this is
Outer Worlds. You said Oblivion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant to say Obsidian. Actually, Obsidian.
What word?
I have hope for Obsidian.
Too much Oblivion.
Too much. I have hopes for Obsidian. I think they are a tried and true developer. So I would love to see what they're going to do with this fully developed game with the Outer Worlds. And maybe I will pick up this again sooner or later.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited to eventually return to it, but. Yeah, it's not KCD 2. It's not Oblivion remastered.
But it doesn't even feel
It kind of feels like Oblivion the most.
It does, but it doesn't even
it's
feel
so
like
funny that I'm playing that and I'm like, yeah, I see Oblivion in this.
But Gooch, stop
maybe
comparing.
I don't think that's a great thing. What?
But I also see a lot of again. That's I think just those Bethesda Game Studios RPG elements. Genuinely, in general, I think. It just felt like they kind of half leaned into it. And I think if they really got the full shot at it, I would have had a much different reaction to this game. And I think a lot of people would have. And it's tough to take things away from people. I'm sorry, that example that I gave of the stagnant NPCs, like when you're walking through a city. You feel that. You do. Yeah. It feels different and it feels weird.
There's only each zone has a town, but I didn't really care about the town.
Sure.
I do kind of agree. The towns do. They don't feel compelling to go to. I don't really care about Thirdborn or Paradise. I don't really give a shit.
It feels like set. And again,
it feels
like set dressing to me.
To be like, here's a hub.
Exactly. You need to go get something to eat or not eat. You need to sell something. Yeah, here's the vendor. They're there all times of the day. I mean, I don't know.
But at the same time, I don't need every RPG to be super immersive where everyone's on schedules. But I hear you.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think you have a point. But I'm also just saying I also don't mind walking into a city and the city is not very, it's not real.
Of course, but I guess
and what do I mean by that? That's a good question.
No, I think
I'm trying to think of a game that
feels think about going into Novigrad in The Witcher. Everyone's walking around. I mean, everyone probably doesn't have their own routine or anything. I don't know that, but it feels like things are happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like the city's bustling a bit.
I'm trying to think of a lower grade example. Maybe Outer Worlds. Did you feel that way about Outer Worlds?
I did. I felt like there were people walking around.
So maybe that's a good example of where I'm that was fine, and I know it's not this living, breathing thing.
But it felt more, at least for me, in that small window of time I had with this. It felt more living than anything in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, though, Gooch?
No, not really. I don't think this game is going to do anything at the Game Awards. Maybe art direction. I think it's got a pretty unique art direction. It does kind of stand out from that point of view. And maybe gameplay. But narrative, I think we will get to the end of the year and this will be almost forgotten. There's a lot of good RPGs this year. Oblivion, fucking Claire Obscure. KCD 2, it's a RPG year. Death Stranding's on its way. Lost Soul aside, Doom. There are a lot of games coming out this year, and frankly, just Avowed was never gonna be the one that people are gonna remember.
I think this is an obvious statement. If it was a better game, I think they would have. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think if it really did stand out, no matter what year it's coming out.
Man? I think it's fine that Avowed is not 10 out of 10 IGN.
Oh, definitely.
I don't really care.
No, that's fair. And what grade did it get? It was like
it was like a
7/8. Yeah,
and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I do like the game. I do think it has some charm and some quality to it. Is it the best thing ever for the whole time? No. I'm even getting to the point in KCD 2 where I think I've just been playing so long it's getting a bit stale.
No,
but
I
also
get that.
my time has been pulled between excuse me, a ton of different games, so I think I'm just getting fatigued.
Dude, I totally
agree. And that's
agree.
why I gotta finish Avowed and just put it aside.
Well, and that's why I've been really focusing in on Kingdom Come these last couple days, because I I said it. I'm like, I keep finding quests. I swear to fucking God, I keep finding them.
I've been in Kutenberg just fucking talking to people for
so
like
long.
2 weeks.
And there's so much in there, so I've really been trying to focus in on that. I'm almost done Death Stranding. I just beat Kaiju Amelie. Or not Higgs, yeah. So I need to follow him.
You are at the end.
So I'm right there.
I would recommend doing that entire ending in one go.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm trying to find a good moment.
Once you start going back, like the minute you go back to Capital Knot is
I think
where
so.
you start.
Like I just got to the point where you need to follow Higgs somehow. Like I just beat him and then he went away and it's like follow Higgs.
Okay.
And I'm
so
like,
you probably I could say like you could off topic. Yeah. You could do a session, do the Higgs stuff, and then when it's like you have to go back to where you came, don't get back to Capital Knot until you're ready to finish it, and then do it all in one go.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for DS, for DS2. So
yeah, again, Avowed. I recommend it if you're an RPG person, but
it's on Game Pass.
There is better stuff.
Yeah.
Like I can't lie and be like, this is the best thing out.
Avowed or Oblivion.
It's such a not fair question.
But that just I'm
Oblivion
sorry,
Remastered.
Easily. Like there's
a lot more value there.
There is, and I will just say, don't get me wrong.
Avowed was $50, right?
No, I think it was full price. I thought it was.
I don't think it's $70. I think it's like $60. Let's see.
Trying to find it. No, it's $70.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I thought so. Fuck. I didn't think it was going to be cheaper.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is on Game Pass.
You have Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, give it. Yes. I mean, yeah, I'll say play Oblivion instead for sure. But listen, try Avowed. You have it. Why not?
I can't wait to talk about Oblivion.
Dude, I can't wait either.
We're doing so. I mean, we have it. KCD2 review is going to be coming up. Well, we're finished here pretty much. I'll let Trio outro in a sec. But yeah, the last few months for hot takes has been weird because we didn't really have any. There wasn't really a ton to watch or a ton to. We were playing a lot, but again, we're still playing KCD2.
It's all big, long, meaty games.
Yeah. So Oblivion, like we were kind of stewing on it before the leaks, and we're like, we should do a re-3 of this and use the remaster as the vehicle of that. And I think that is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a review would kind of be like, it's the same game. We're not. Like, there is something to review and talk about.
It would almost just be like a rewind review of like a game, like in a way. Like
yeah. like we need to give this more. We have so much background with Oblivion that it would be easiest for us to do it, and I think a better experience to listen to instead of just being like, let's review Oblivion. Like we haven't had this game for like 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Avowed.
Love it. Thank you all for watching with us. If you've been with us on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network Live, we really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search us up on your service of choice. We got a Facebook page, a Discord channel, all that good stuff will be linked down below for your convenience. We're on all the social medias as well, at Delco Nerds, on everything with an @ sign. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. You can even email us your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. And we'd be happy to get back to you. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.